Is it Advil? I don't know.
I just think it's probably as simple as he goes to Costco or something and buys it in bulk and sells it
Sure.
at a decent price.
Sure. Yeah.
And there's probably like fentanyl in it.
Well, yeah,
So,
that too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just like a little,
I mean,
just a little fentanyl.
right.
but at a decent price. Decently priced fentanyl. Yeah. All right, let's go. So we wanted to discuss the experience I had. You guys want to hear about it?
Yeah.
When I went to the Raynham, Massachusetts flea market.
Oh,
Well,
otherwise known as home.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead, Mike.
well, I'm just curious. I want to know your general takeaways, and then I have some specific questions for you. But why don't we start with you just kind of describing your perspective throughout that experience?
Just like Spitfire. Let's go.
Upon approach of the building, I was like, what is this? It reminded me a little bit of a circus tent. However, I will say, once you got in there and you paid, it was
before you get inside, I have questions.
Okay. Oh boy.
Were they charging a fee to get in? Because sometimes when it's cold weather, they don't.
So it was $1.50 to get in, and I happen to have $3. I paid for both of us.
Ooh, what
like
a brother.
The gentleman that I am.
Yep. You should pay that back though.
I'm the oldest brother, so I should pay, right? But yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Was there vendors that were outside?
There were. Yes, that was the most interesting. Upon entering and exiting, the people outside fascinated me. It didn't seem like they were selling anything. It just seemed like they were having a fun time, and they had all their stuff out on tables, and half of it wasn't even organized. It was like, wow, look at this. They're just enjoying the cold weather and talking with friends.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad.
For like winter in New England.
40s maybe? Mid 40s? Yeah, It wasn't bad at all. And they had food vendors. I don't know. I was hungry. However, I didn't buy any food, so I can't comment on the food.
Was the vendor that sells over-the-counter like Advil and medication?
Yes.
Was he?
I saw the Advil
right at the exit. Right at the exit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That guy's the best.
I
want to buy something from him just to see what you get, because it can't be just straight Advil in those bottles.
I mean, it's
don't they have? Do you think he's figured out a way to get that seal back on the top? Because you know that if it's broken, don't buy it kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if,
broken.
Or he figured out a way to get it back on. I mean, how do you sell Advil? I mean, there was a lot of Advil there. I was like, whoa, look at those, and those are like, 500 capsule bottles of Advil. I was like, what the heck? Where'd that come? What truck did that come off of? But yeah, I don't know. Is it Advil? I don't know.
I just think it's probably as simple as he goes to Costco or something and buys it in bulk and sells it at a decent price.
Sure. Yeah.
And there's probably like fentanyl in it.
Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah, it's like a little, just a little fentanyl.
Right.
But at a decent price. Decently priced fentanyl. Yeah. Yeah. So it was quite an eye-opening experience for me. I had preconceived notions about what this was going to be like. But to get inside,
those notions? What were they?
Well, when you say flea market, it feels like it has fleas. So I literally pictured something that was, but you know what? You go inside.
They sell fleas? Like, I don't know.
No, but they have them. Like bed bugs or something.
I'm sure there's somebody who had fleas there.
I'm sure there were. You know what I mean? And you know what? Whatever. But I will say that was my perception before I got there. Once I got inside, I will say, even in the inside, I was like, wow, look at all these. Like, there's neon lights. They're like right away. I saw collectible items. I saw like old school Nintendo-y stuff. I saw,
Yeah.
uh, um, in fact, the booth across from the main card booth was I kept turning around and looking at it, and it had like John Wayne on like an Afghan blanket. It
Mm.
had Lucille
Did you
Ball.
pick it
It
up?
had
Did you pick it
Elvis.
up?
No, I didn't pick it up. I didn't pick
Oh,
it up. I didn't want to touch anything because I didn't, I was like, oh, you touch it, you buy it. That I didn't know what the policy was, so I was like, hands off. But I was fascinated.
oh,
This
you could
person
touch
had a
stuff.
lot
Yeah,
of
they're pretty loose over there. I wouldn't
yeah,
I wouldn't say that's a
yeah,
place of rules other than don't steal.
yeah. But I will say, going into the place, it was warm. It
Mhm.
wasn't cold. They have
That's
it well
good.
heated, and all the people that I saw engaged in conversation seemed really nice, and they seemed, uh, it was different. So my opinion changed. I thought the place was great. I want to go back. I want to take Deb. I think she'd like it. I think it has a lot of
Mm.
stuff that's like, especially when I described the John Wayne blanket and all that stuff. She's like, "Ooh, sounds great."
She's like, date night. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think it would be a good time. I think it would be a good time. I think she'd definitely find stuff. She loves puzzles. So if we could find the puzzle place, they had closed their shop down, so we couldn't really go through it. But there's a lot of stuff, and we only saw like we did a quick run around. Um, once we did like the card stop, but I mean, I saw some stuff that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But let me get into the card stuff. Can we talk about the card stuff now? Can we move
Yeah,
into that?
Please.
go.
Yep.
So
Did you help
so
hunt?
You did.
yeah, so I was given an assignment. I had 3 cards I needed to get, and they were Michael Jordan,
Yep.
Bobby.
Allen Iverson,
Yep.
and Kobe Bryant. Okay,
Cool.
so 3 goals. So I am rifling through cards, and immediately within the first maybe 5 to 10 minutes, my neck started to like cramp up. And then and I also had a vision problem, as you can, I wear glasses to see things that are within range of like 15 inches or something like that. Now, the height of the table and the height of my eyeballs, I couldn't see, I couldn't read names. So Mike, I probably missed a bunch, especially the flashy cards that have all these designs on it. I was like, who is this?
Oh my
Picking it
gosh,
up,
that
I
actually
can't see.
Those are like
So
the
I,
good ones too, Joe. Go
Good.
back
Those are
up
the
now.
insert.
Go.
no,
Awesome.
but I did take my time and actually look it up, and I spent way too much time looking and trying to find the name of the card. If it had like a lot of designs on it, I'm like, is that a letter? What is that? And so then I put
Wait,
my
that was
glasses
per
on.
card?
No, that
Per
was just on a
card you
couple of
started?
them. So I could rifle through, and I just, because now I know my sport is basketball. So right away I'm like, ugh,
Yeah.
hockey. And I
Right.
just, every time I came across a hockey card, it made me sick to my stomach. I don't know why, but I
Yeah.
just was like, ugh, gross. In baseball, as I'm going through these, and I start to like get overwhelmed because I'm looking around and I'm seeing all these rows of cards, and I'm like, this is thousands upon thousands of cards in here, and I'm just
Mm.
going through, and like, just even to find a basketball card, I'm like, this is gonna take forever, and then I start getting overwhelmed, and then I start thinking like, oh my god, these are all useless cards. Like, there's so many useless cards.
Mm.
Like, why does anyone do this? Like,
Oh,
then I would start thinking like, how big is the NBA, the NFL, MLB? They're humongous. There's so many players that I've never heard of. I'm just going, oh, I don't know who this is, who that is. Modern
Mm.
day, olden days, like, there's just so many.
Yeah.
So it instantly gets me to
pretty
think like,
negative. Pretty negative.
how do they pay all those guys' salaries? How much do they make?
Like the pros, that's where you went in your head?
Yeah. How
Not the flea
wealthy?
market vendors.
Not the flea market vendors. It just started making me think of the actual like NBA. How much do each team, combine all those teams? How much is the NBA worth?
Mm.
Quadrillions?
Well, you're also looking at cards over the span of decades, so they're not all currently being compensated from those
Correct.
particular,
Do they have a retirement plan?
I would hope, but I haven't
Yeah.
called most of them to know what
Yeah.
their strategies were in retirement.
So it's interesting though, because one, I'll say that you were helpful. I appreciated it, despite the fact
I
that
did get a lot of
sounds like you
Jordans. I
missed a
did
lot of
find
great inserts.
no,
so that's
no, 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 no,
not
no,
great.
no, 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 no. I didn't miss anything. I went back. If I couldn't find something, I held on to it until I could see it. But there were a few that I was like, "What? Who is this?"
So I do.
Oh,
I can relate to the neck hurting. It is a weird, like it is
And
a
like
weird, but
back and
it's
neck.
like because you're kind of hunched over.
you're
But
definitely
that's
hunched
like
over.
that's literally like this is why you're able to find like decently priced cards, because you're willing to stand in that awkward position and sort through those things. They will offer a chair, by the way, just so you know. If you come again and you're hurting,
Dude,
you can just be
really?
like, "Can
Are
I
you
sit down?"
serious?
Yeah, they're really good people.
I always
And if
take
you
them
just
up on
say,
it.
"Do you have a chair?" I don't like the chair because I need to be mobile. I need to be ready to move quick.
Where
Really?
was that? Where was that
Stationary
tidbit
cards.
while we were there? And I was like, "Oh,
Well,
my
I
back
didn't.
is killing me." And you're like, "Yeah,
So
I know. No
I'll,
chair." You're
we
like, "Oh,
can.
they offer a chair. Ask him for a chair, Joe, if you're feeling old and decrepit. Go ahead."
You're
No,
new
I
to the
didn't
game,
know
Joe.
that you
They're
were
not going to
struggling.
have to.
Say it again, Matt.
He's new to the game. They're going to make him prove his worth, get through that neck and back pain, and then
It's
the
kind
next
of
time
funny.
they give you a chair.
All right. So my experience with this was I looked at it as a jackpot day. Some days you go there and you can tell they haven't restocked. So you're kind of going through the same cards. And then this time we went, and I remember feeling two things. Like one, like my heart started to race because I'm like, oh my God, I got to go through all these as quickly as possible. And I see these people next to me and they're going to find a card that I want. And so I felt totally different than how you felt. Like I felt like excited, like, oh my gosh, it's happening.
How many
This is
other
it. This
people
is
were
it.
there?
There
in the
were like
shop?
3 or 4 because we went a little bit later.
Ooh.
So there were 3 or 4, and so that's actually a question that I was going to ask about, like the etiquette around like how you stand next to each other, and like you don't want to like cut somebody who's been there, but anyway, so that was one thing. Was I felt excitement, and I just assumed you shared that excitement. I had no idea. When we walked out and I was like, so what'd you think? And you're like, I'm exhausted. That was like way too long. I was like, I was shocked. I was like, oh my, really? Because I felt like truly I was like on a high. My adrenaline was at the tippity top. I had to take deep breaths on my way out because I was so like, and then I'm thinking to myself, so that was like one feeling. The second feeling was, Matt's going to be devastated that he missed this because they restocked.
I still am jealous. I'm still jealous.
It was like a jackpot kind of day.
I'm not
so
even
it's just
happy for
interesting.
you. I'm pissed.
Yeah. But it's interesting that you and I were very literally side by side doing the same action. And we had completely different experiences because you were like, oh, my neck hurts. I can't see. This is, I'm exhausted. And I was like, I can't move quickly enough. Oh my gosh.
I felt as though there was a certain point in time where I'm like, I don't think I can do this anymore. I'm gonna have to tell Mike I'm gonna have to like take a lap. And then I was like, no, just stick to it, embrace the pain, and just don't let your little brother down. And so I stuck with it. But I will say the etiquette. At first, I was like, upon approach of the table, I was just like, okay, where's my spot? And I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know if I'm looking at 25 cents. Slowly over time, I started seeing labels, but at first approach, I was just trying to find an open spot. So I did. And I kid you not, the guy, when I first started, this man was to my left, and he's and he's going through it, and he's much faster than I am. He's just like rifling through, and I'm, like I said, I was struggling to read some of the names. So I'm like picking cards up and holding them to my face. I am not rifling through anything. So I finally,
just one at a time, right close to your face. Okay.
He must have just been shaking his head off to the side going, look at this chump. This is his first time, I can tell. But so he starts to go through the column of cards, and he's slowly but surely making his way towards me. And I'm like, what if he catches up? And I'm like, well, I'm sizing him up and I'm like, I could definitely take this guy. So I'm not that
You gonna
concerned
fight?
well,
That
no,
was your
if he
thought?
asked me to move, I probably would have just been like, no. And then I would have kept going slow. Like I just,
No.
but it took me, I had to look at him first to make sure. Cause if he was a bigger guy, I would have been like, absolutely, sir, have at it. Like
I'm
I'll
just
switch with you.
shocked that so much of this was happening in your mind
Oh yeah, yeah,
while we
yeah.
were there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like, I've never seen
you were
anyone
prepared
get in
for
a
a
fight.
fight. Like, that's
No,
crazy.
not necessarily a fight, but just like a no. Um, hey,
Mhm.
like I'm here. You can't occupy my space. I'm taking my time
Just
with
my
this. My
recommendation,
neck
Joe, is
hurts.
don't fight someone in a flea market. Like, they sell
Yeah.
No, no,
random
no, no,
knives
no.
there.
There was
Like,
no
that's gonna go
chance
bad.
that was going to happen. There was no chance. It was just a matter of whether or not I was going to have a fist thrown at me and whether or not I cared. And I looked at him and I was like, I don't care if he throws a fist at me or not. Um,
Mm,
that was my
okay.
judgment. There was no fighting back. I probably would have hurt him upon him punching me. So it was that type of fella. So light
Like
and
an old
flimsy.
man.
No, 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 no. Just not
So what is the etiquette then? Because that was something I in no way felt like I might need to throw down with anybody. But
okay.
I will say
He got
there
to the
was
end of his. Go ahead. It
well,
was
all
what?
right. So there was a similar situation where there was a guy to my right. I think there were two people in between us. One guy was working towards you. One guy was working towards me. But
Yep.
so Matt, I'm curious. As I'm gonna label you the flea market expert because
King
you're
I
the
love
most
that.
flea
Love
seasoned.
market.
that.
King of the
Life
Yeah,
flea
phrase
market.
yeah.
right there. You
Congratulations.
could never have complimented me so much.
So when we got there, there were already two or three people there, and obviously, I'm not gonna like stand in front of a person who's who's sorting through a row, but there wasn't a ton of space, like there, without being like kind of shoulder to shoulder with these people to be able to look at a different row. And so it was interesting because I felt like the guy to my right was slightly annoyed with me because he was working his way to the left and I just stood to his left and I started, right? So I started working my way. So I was now in front of him sorting through rows and I noticed that he wasn't pulling exclusively Jordans, but he was definitely pulling Jordans as he found them. And I think he saw the fact that I was just cleaning out every Jordan I found, I was pulling out. So he's moving in the same direction as me, knowing that I'm essentially screening out all of the Jordans. And it occurred to me, like, I didn't change my actions. I continued to do it. But it made me realize, like, am I being an a-hole here? Like, what are the rules? Because he was here first. I did kind of cut in front of him. There was another guy moving to the right. So how am I to know, there's no
Well,
like clear order. So
So
what is
right.
the etiquette? How do
Explain
you
when you
approach it?
say cut in front of him. How do you know
Well,
which?
because he was moving in the left direction and I stood to his left. I
But
didn't
you
know it.
going up and down. You know what I mean? When you go in and look at someone, they're not moving left to right. They're moving up
Right.
and down, and then they move. Eventually, when they get through a row, they go one way or the other. But the fact that you've already landed your position, then you realize after the fact that he's heading your way. It's like, well, whatever. I don't know.
And that was my logic. I guess that's why I want
Yeah,
to ask our expert who's probably chomping at the bit to weigh in on this.
yeah.
So,
What is
what
the
did I do
proper
I
wrong?
etiquette,
just,
What did I do
sir?
right?
Flea
What are
market.
your thoughts?
I'm so appreciative of being called a flea market expert. I can't even, like, there can be no greater compliment.
Yeah,
I thank you both. I mean, truly,
you're
you've made
welcome.
my life.
Of
All right.
course.
In my mind, I think there's unwritten rules to dollar bin hunting, not specifically flea market, any dollar bin hunt.
Mhm.
And most dollar bins are set up with that 4-row box.
Mhm.
And I think as a viewer, it's first come first serve on that box, and no one else can really get their hands in that box until you've either been asked about a particular row, or unless you finish that whole box. So it's pretty much shoulder to you have access to the rows in front of you by your shoulders. If you reach
Mhm.
across somebody else, you literally need to ask them, "Hey, are you done with this row? Do you mind if I look?" And they have a right to be like, "No, not yet," and then you have to wait. Otherwise, I think it's just the viewer that's there. So the fact that you jumped in after him, he only has a right to that box. Did you reach into his box?
Of course not. I would never reach into his box.
As long
Yeah,
as you
there
didn't
seemed
touch
to be
another
a
man's
lane.
box,
It
I think
seemed to
you're
be like
okay.
a lane. You have that lane. You occupy that lane. You can't cross into it. I get that.
Yeah.
But
So
it's kind
basically,
of like
don't go in front of,
lanes.
don't go across, so that you're now like grabbing from a box that he's looking at that's within his shoulder range.
Right.
That's the. All right.
That-
So the only flaw with what you said in this specific example was they weren't boxes of 4; they were boxes of 2.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I would say then the shoulder rule applies. So if there's like 2 and 2 and they
And
fit
it's
in front of his
yeah.
shoulder, that's all he has access to. Once you get to reach in front of another person,
Yeah.
that's on you. That you shouldn't be doing that unless you
Yeah.
ask them like, "Hey, I finished these. Any chance have you done those
Sure.
rows?" And
I
they're like,
almost
"Yep,
feel like
all
you can
done."
do a switcheroo, like you
Yeah,
both
you could switch around.
Yeah.
switcheroo.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
let me get on to this next part, which is the collection of once you've gotten your pile of Jordans now, and we are no longer looking through the boxes. We did
Yeah.
happen to find a section of table where the boxes seemed to be half the depth. So we had some tabletop to work with. However, there were boxes in front of us, and we just stood there sorting through all the Jordans. And I felt this guy because now I've come around and I'm next to Mike. I'm like, here you go. This is what I found. I give him my stash. He takes his stash and he starts going through them all. And we're separating them between $2 and $5 cards. Now, this guy he's talking about is sort of heading left in my direction now. And I just kind of put my back to him and we're just like, you know what? He's just going to stop when he gets to me. And,
Yeah.
he's either going to ask me to move or what. But there wasn't like a clear place to organize because every single tabletop had
Right.
items on it.
Cards.
So
Boxes
you
of cards,
couldn't
yeah.
you couldn't organize cards. Like now we're no longer looking through bins. We're trying to organize
So
and decide.
now you got to get out of the way. So now, if you're no longer searching bins,
Yeah.
you should. I would have said, in that knowing that particular flea market vendor, they have a glass case that he kind of does his negotiating from. You could have
It
organized
was
from there.
occupado.
Oh, interesting. So
Yeah.
good day for him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It was definitely there was a lot of bartering going on behind us, or haggling rather. They weren't bartering. They weren't trading like bearskin for things. But it was a pretty full day. It was actually the most full I've seen it in the few times that I've gone. So it was just, I think maneuvering is just hard to do. Like it's just
What time did you guys
much.
go?
I don't remember. A little bit later than what we typically do. So in the 9-ish hour. Does that sound right, Joe?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was.
I
But
think
yeah,
if
it was,
I like going early. I like the getting there around 8. As the only problem is they're still kind of setting the boxes up. So that's good because you can get like first dibs on things. But if they're not ready, you're kind of waiting for them. But do we have any more comments on flea market? Because while we're talking about etiquette, I have 2 questions around etiquette on whatnot, and I'd like to segue into that if that's okay before we wrap up.
And this is the etiquette show. Yeah, let's do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
etiquette.
here, I will say one last thing, and that is if you guys go to the flea market again, I would definitely like to go with you. However, I do not want to rifle through bins and I do not want to look at cards. I will like peruse at my own
You'll walk
leisure
around.
the place. I'll walk around. Yeah.
But
Do
be
you need
aware,
your
Joe.
own car so that you're not on us about leaving, so I don't have to murder you? Because I take longer.
No. I would love to actually go with you and then harass you to leave. I'll like just do a loop by you and guys, is it time? Are you guys done? Are you guys done?
Oh, we can't do this. We can't do this. I can't handle that.
So
I'm motivated.
And Joe, that's when I told you when we were walking out, and when you revealed to me that you were exhausted, I was just thinking to myself, like, you are so lucky Matt wasn't here, because we would have had an extra hour of
I could do
literally
that
everything
on
we did.
Every vendor. I could go to every vendor and do that.
Yeah, like the idea of like, because for the record, we were only there for 1 hour. That's
Oh
all.
my God.
That was
not
it.
enough. I would have been the opposite. I would have been pissed at you guys for leaving so early.
That's why. That's why.
I am
when
kidding.
Matt
I
and
would
I
never
drive together,
ever drive with you guys. I would drive separately.
but
I would
I'm good
arrive
with an
late and
hour.
leave
I
early.
don't want to be there for more. I want to go for an hour, right? It takes us a half hour to get there, give or take, and then I want to do an hour of perusing, to the point where I have all the cards. The haggling has occurred, and now I'm out of there. I don't want to be there for more than an hour. That's where Matt and I are very different. His
I want to
endurance for
do
that
all
is
3
much
meals
higher.
there. I want to be there all day.
That's
I want
just
to.
like so concerning.
Hey,
It's
have you had
like
have
I
you had the
found my
food?
people.
Have you had the
No,
food?
but I might.
I want to
I
try
might
the
have to
chicken
catch
leg and then just vomit everywhere. The big
Can
chicken.
I,
Okay, so
before we
anyways,
move on, hold on.
all right.
Before we
Yep.
move on
Yep.
to etiquette about whatnot, can I just add the fatigue that hits though, like the back and neck pain? I've pretty much started having back pain and I just
Yeah.
chalked it up to like trying to lose weight and working out. I think it's exclusively card stuff though. I think
Yeah.
it's literally this. Like I pretend with my family that it's all the working out I'm doing. It's just dollar bin hunting.
Yeah. So what's weird is, as we're having this conversation, the left side of my neck has been hurting now for about 3 months straight, and it's now occurring to me like, oh, this is what's happening. Okay, got it.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so etiquette. I had 2 experiences with whatnot, and I don't know how I feel about them. The first one, I think this is obvious, but maybe I'm wrong. During a show that I was running, so a stream that I was running selling cards, it was going great. We were, I think I was probably halfway through at that point, maybe 40 minutes in, and some dude goes on there and in the chat says like, "Hey everybody, I'm doing this show. Like come follow," or like my good friend, and then put the username, is running a show selling all these like Kobe hits, blah blah blah. You guys should join. And so this is in the middle of my show. I didn't know the person. It's not like he had sent me a message. There was no like agreement that he'd do it in my show and then I'd do it in his later or anything like that. And so I called him out in the show, hey, are you advertising like another stream on my stream that's happening right now? Like, are you sending people out of my stream into a friend of yours? Like, that's not cool if you're doing that. And so that happened. I want to make sure that it was appropriate for me to call it out, or if maybe that's a normal thing and maybe I just haven't noticed it. But I will say there were a few people on my stream that actually had my back, and they were like, "Not cool, man, get going." Like they were like telling them to get out of there. But I'm curious, Matt, have you had that experience, something like that happen before? Did I respond appropriately? Should I have allowed that to happen and not say anything?
Wait
What's
a minute,
the
Matt.
etiquette?
Didn't you do this to Mike, Matt?
No, I did not.
He did, but in fairness, we've talked about it. Yeah, but we've talked about it.
Yeah. And it was not running a show at the same time. It was later. Right. And it was just So I have people that come into my shows all the time that run streams, and they're really good streamers. They're good vendors overall. And whenever I see them pop in, I will like put their names up and say, "Hey, also follow this, bookmark them." But they're people I know and I've worked with like before. And so I will do that. They won't initiate that ever, because there's definitely an unwritten rule of like, don't go in someone else's stream and advertise unless you've had that conversation. And when I'm doing that, it's not because they have a stream right now. It's just because they're in general someone they should follow later. So like, and I think that's good for the community and like for the kind of network you build and getting more people to do the same for you. So certainly I think there's a norm of supporting other dealers and vendors. I think it's an absolute no-no to go in someone else's show and promote yourself or another show to get them to leave. Like I would block that person. I don't.
Can I block people? I didn't even know
I think
could
so.
block
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, I think so. Or you can boot them from your stream. I think I'm not 100% sure. Now, with that said, it hasn't happened to me where someone's done that in my stream, but I've been in other people's streams where I've seen, the same thing occur. And the host was very similar. It was like, "What are you doing, guy? Like, get out of here." And now some people are way more aggressive. Like the fact that you asked a question about it, I think is nice. But like that's to me is an absolute no-no. Like, don't be a donkey. Like that's an idiot move.
Okay. So I responded appropriately, and maybe
even
you were
you were almost kind about it.
Okay. That's good to know. And that's probably why people in the stream jumped in, because there were a couple comments like, not cool, get going, something like that.
Yeah, whatnot feels like the wild, wild west right now. And I don't. There are a lot of unwritten rules, but I think those rules are still being formulated in the moment. So everyone's kind of finding their way. So I think just look at it from a humanity standpoint. You're stealing people from one show to another, and that's just it doesn't feel right. So yeah, I don't
There's a
think you're
way to
wrong at
do it,
all.
right? So when I'll go into other people's shows to look at the type of cards that are going, the prices. So I'm not necessarily there to buy. I won't even do the giveaways because I don't love when people do that to me. So I won't necessarily click into that to get freebies, but I will follow people who are making high bids. So like I'll see who's bidding and I will like follow that person. However, where I may have crossed an unwritten rule is I have messaged people I see spending a ton of money for cards that aren't worth a ton of money. So like they'll go in and be bidding like $40 or $50 for what is really a $2 or $3 card. And I've messaged that person before because it was one of those streams. The guy felt like a scumbag, and he was like, and I got all like nervous for the bidders that were bidding, and I probably shouldn't have, but I messaged him like, hey, you might want to look up these card values on eBay before you keep bidding. They're like a little overpriced. And that was it. Like, and I don't know why. I just felt like I had in my head this Nana that was on the on whatnot. I might have totally misread the situation. And this like young kid was like doing the yelling, like, you're halfway there, you're halfway there. And they're not, they were triple the value. And this person was falling for it. And I just felt bad for that person. And so I probably crossed an unwritten rule there. But
Did they
you
respond?
do that? Oh, I have questions.
Did they respond?
Yeah, did they respond? That's a question.
They wrote back, thanks, man.
That's it?
That was it.
Oh,
Yeah.
sounds like a Nana. That's a Nana response.
I know.
Thank
I
you.
know. Once they wrote thanks, man, it wasn't Nana. I know that.
Oh, okay.
And then, so then on top of that, did you message them during the show? Like while they were bidding?
Not in the chat. I did it I sent a private message.
You sent a private message, but it was while the stream was happening.
Yeah.
Whoa. All right. So that's interesting.
Wait a minute.
I think, man,
wow, so
we
this
have
might
an
be going on
dilemma here.
Yeah, this might be going, Mike. This might be going on underneath your nose. You don't even know it. People might be messaging each other.
But I feel like that's legit because I don't think you could publicly just go like in someone's stream and ruin their stream. But I think you can look out for people.
Yeah, no, I think you're totally right. I think ultimately to look out for somebody, you're observing somebody that's paying stupid money and it's happening over and over again, and you're basically just saying like heads up. I think that's.
And I didn't even advertise my own stuff. It wasn't like I could do it cheaper. Like it wasn't that.
Yeah, wow. But you are taking business away. Oh, but you said that the seller was the obnoxious seller. You're halfway there. You're halfway there.
Yeah, they were yelling at everybody.
So you know what? So I'm gonna 100% side with you. I was gonna kind of side with you and then also empathize with the seller a little bit. But if they're being like that kind of obnoxious, come on, you got to get me higher. We got to go higher. That stuff. Then I would say they deserve it, and that's just karma. And that probably happens to them a lot, and we just don't know about it.
It was the closest I came to like putting it in the public chat of like, dude, you're way overpriced. But and I'm like, you know what? Mind your own business. Like, I don't know. I'll save that one person, but not everyone else.
And here's
because
the difference.
That person could know what they're doing. I mean, obviously they didn't.
Though. There's a big difference between what you did and what this other guy did. So it's very easy and little effort to put a message in and actually hit every single person in once with a message to say, hey, come out of this stream and go to a different one. But to private message someone, you do it individually, right? There's no way you can, unless Whatnot gives you the option to private message everybody in the room.
I don't think
there's no one button, right?
How.
You would have to actually
you can't.
Like, what do you have to click on their username and then send them a private message?
Well, and I was doing that because I was following people who were bidding high. So I was getting into their account, and instead of follow, I clicked message on this guy.
Okay. And now, can you, as a user, shut off instant messages so no one can message you?
I
I
don't know.
don't know.
Well, no, but there's a setting where you can accept, like, if I've never sent somebody a message and I go to send them a message, like I can't bombard them. I could send them like 5 messages, but it will never get in until they like accept it. Like, so and so has sent you a message. Do you accept? And then they have to
Got
click
it.
accept, and then
Yeah.
then they'll see what I sent.
It
I
feels
don't know if that's
dramatically
a
different.
default setting, but I know I have that setting.
Yeah. It seems, there's some controls there, and it's to private message one person is a lot different than going into a public stream and sending a message out to the entire group at once. That
Totally,
seems way
it's
too
yeah,
easy, and that's
yeah.
I mean, I
definitely
felt like a
fault ball.
hero. I got to be honest.
Well, okay, so that was
Yeah,
I think to put a bow on this conversation, because I do think we have to wrap up soon.
we do, we do.
My question for you, Matt, is what was the outcome? Did the guy stop bidding after you sent that message, or did he keep bidding but not go as high? Like, how did it land?
I'm not. This isn't going to be good for storytelling. I left the stream and I have no idea. He wrote, "Thanks, man." I don't know.
So you were concerned
Yeah.
until you sent the message. Now you're like, okay, whatever.
Well, I was
I
just
did
so
my
annoyed
part.
with.
You're on
I
your
was
own.
so annoyed with the vendor that like I was like, I don't want to be in this. And I found myself. I either got to put something in the chat or I just need to leave, and so I just left.
Yeah. That's
So.
probably what I would have done in the first. I think it was good that you sent that message. I think it was like good looking out, but I also feel like I probably would have just swiped away. Like I would have just gone to a different channel and not worried about it. But maybe that's, maybe you're a kind of person. Real quick, again, since we're on etiquette, I don't mean to belabor the point, but I've had not once but twice. I've had the MJ AW1 or AW4 hologram. I can't remember which one. The sale fell through. The first one was because the payment didn't succeed, but it
Yep.
wasn't until like the show, it kept trying. And then after the show, it didn't happen. Right. So fine, whatever. But then the second one, so same card actually. So it's almost like, wow, this is weird that the same card fell through twice. The second one, most recently, I had sold that hologram, and it went through. And then I got a message from the guy, and he paid kind of like, I'd say more than he should have, probably $10 over what he should have spent on that thing. And he messaged me later saying, hey, I made a mistake buying that card. Is there any way you can refund me? So I did. So that's the quick outcome is I said, sure, right? Because it's like, what am I going to do? Like, no, tough luck. You did it. I'm not going to be that guy. But the more I think about it, the more I realize like that action is, as much as I can relate to like, yeah, I paid a stupid amount. I got into the bidding war and I paid more than I should have. He also made it so other people couldn't get it, that they
Right.
wanted to spend money. And so I don't know. What are your thoughts? What should we do there? Is that uncool of him? Does everybody get one or two of those?
The first situation I actually find like understandable, but kind of annoying in that the payment declined. Like, in that, people are in their own situations, but sometimes people do that on purpose, just bidding it up and knowing that it's not going to hit their card because they just don't care. And then you're right, you lose out on that second place sale. Like, because, that's sometimes, so if it's ever intentional, it's very frustrating. If it's not intentional, obviously, like, everyone's got to deal with their own financial situation, and you feel for people who think they have it and they don't. The second situation, I find everything that's wrong with Whatnot, because if imagine you did the opposite. Say you put that card up there and it sold for $2, and you just canceled it, being like, "No, I thought it was going to go for more." Like, no way.
Right.
Like, that would be inappropriate. So, like, if someone just gets caught up and bids it up higher, and this is why I think your start price does matter. So if you start it way over and you fool them, that's a little different. I think you're almost as the seller in the wrong. But if you start it at $2 and it just keeps going out of control, like, that's on that bidder to stop and make a good decision. If they went too far it's no different than if it went too low. I think you just own it. I've never asked someone like, could you refund me because I made a bad choice? But with that said, I would have done the same as you, Mike. I like, whatever, you still have the card, you didn't ship it. Like, like, all right, it's frustrating. I might have put like a little preachy answer in, like, that's just disappointing because the second place bidder, was really high and I miss out on that. But,
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say it would be almost, nice of Whatnot to send a message to the second place bidder on that card and say, hey, the top bidder can't, for whatever reason, like can't this transaction can't occur. You now are the top bidder for this card. Do you want it? Yes or no? Maybe go down, just go to the second place. And if that person's like, no, I don't want it anymore, at least they have the opportunity to get that bid price back. And you get an opportunity for the sale.
yeah,
And
I think you
still,
give them leverage though if you start doing that as well. Like,
yeah,
because they're like,
I
oh,
get
the
it, but
one bidder's gone, I'm gone too.
I
Like they
I
keep
just I
track of
almost
that.
feel like, who's the collector here? Like, okay, this payment method, didn't go through. All right, great. Put another one up. You're still on the hook for this. And if you don't
Yeah.
pay, at what point does Whatnot cancel your account? As like, you know what I mean? Putting in faulty bids. It's got to be illegal in
Well,
Whatnot
people who
world.
do faulty bids can get banned. Like they do track some of that
Yeah.
stuff. Like you
Okay.
can
Good.
report a buyer.
Can
So
we
like
review buyers? Can we as sellers review buyers?
I don't know if you can review them, but you could definitely report a problem to Whatnot, and they can like kind of review the situation. But like I had one person who spam bid a card. Like I had like probably a $7 card, nothing crazy. I forget what it was, and it soared past 10, and I went, "Whoa, okay, guys, like it's not worth that much." Like it was so shockingly going fast that like I I said something. Normally you don't slow down bidders, but I was like, guys, it's not worth that much, and it just kept going, and it got to like $600, like something like that, and I was like, obviously someone's messing with me. Like, what is happening? And the payment declined. Like, and they just so I just sent that bidder to Whatnot as like spam bidding. I forget, it's like a term.
Right.
um, and and I think sometimes they do it in certain streams to help the streamer because they'll spam bid it up, knowing like it will inflate the price. So sometimes it's in collaboration with um, a, a, a streamer.
Oh my God, you think there's people out there that are
100%.
spam bidding for a
Yep.
seller? Oh, that makes
Yep.
me sick. That like scares me. I don't like that at all. I feel like
All
you
right,
just
well,
turned me
let's
from a child to an adult, and now I have to
yeah.
face reality. Oh my God.
All the
Your
flaws.
innocence is
There's so
lost.
much. There's so much conspiring happening.
Yeah.
All right,
Not to mention
let's
Whatnot has children. That's scary too. Just throwing that out there. Like that's what I was thinking. The 55. I think he spent like $55 on it, which is overpriced in my opinion. It's not what I would have spent on that particular card. And then he asked for a refund. I gave it to him, but I gave it to him because ultimately I'm like, this could be a 12-year-old, and how would I know? Like, how do I know?
Yeah.
But anyways, we got to wrap
All
up.
right, we got to wrap up. All right, so
All
we'll
right, Etiquette show. It's in the books.
okay, love it. All right,
Peace.
guys, we'll talk to you.
Later.
Bye.